Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are in my kitchen because we're going to be unboxing, testing out, and reviewing this all-new air fryer oven from a company called HYSapientia. Now this appliance has both air frying and oven functions such as grilling, baking, dehydrating, thawing, and just a number of different other cooking settings, anything that you can pretty much think of that you might need in the kitchen. Now, air fryer ovens like this one are not only fast and efficient, but they also reduce energy consumption, and they also encourage a healthier lifestyle when it comes to eating because it reduces and eliminates the need for unhealthy grease and cooking oils when you're cooking. So we've had our existing air fryer now for a little bit over 5 years, and it's beginning to show its age. Now it still works just fine, but it's coming to the point where it's time to replace and upgrade to a model that has more functions and features. We'll find out in this video if this air frying oven from HYSapientia will be the one to do that. So stay tuned. All right, so in front of me we've got the HYSapientia air fryer oven. And as you can tell, it's a moderately sized air fryer that's shaped more like an oven than an air fryer. Now HYSapientia did reach out to me and asked me if I wanted to unbox and review this air frying oven on my channel. Now I agreed because it topped the list as one of the best-selling mini ovens on Amazon, and I wanted to check it out for myself. Now they did send this to me, but they aren't paying me for this video, so I'm going to review it and let you know what I think the good things are and what I think the bad things are about the oven, as well as how well it works. Now I did a little research before this arrived, and the first thing about this air frying oven is that it should be completely made of stainless steel material, which means unlike plastic, it will potentially last a lot longer than most air fryers, which are typically made out of plastic, and overall should look better and easier to clean in general. Okay, so right off the bat, the model of this air fryer oven is HYSAFO02A. I believe the HYS stands for HYSapientia, which is the manufacturer of this air fryer oven. So let's go ahead and unbox this to see what all comes in the package. Okay, and as you can see from the packaging, it is packaged pretty well. It's not too heavy, but it's also not that light. So definitely be careful when you're trying to lift it. Okay, so that is just the outer box, and inside is of course the actual box itself. So we'll just tilt this over and pull it out. Probably have to tip it upside down. Okay, so it's a colorful little box. So as you can see, it is stainless steel. It looks like a brushed stainless steel. Let's take a look. So it does come in a brushed silver stainless steel or a black color, looks like. So you do have two options of colors to choose from. It's good for French fries, pizza, barbecue, broil, grill, toast, bake, steak, dehydrate, and rotisserie. So just a lot of different functions and features for this air frying oven itself. So it's 120 volts, requires 1800 watts of power, and it's got a net weight of 171 pounds. Okay, let's see, anything else special here? Okay, so it's a multi-function 10-in-1 air frying oven. It's got a large air fryer plus mini oven, so that's the whole unit itself. It's got a double layer glass door and uses food grade stainless steel, which you would think you hope that the appliance that you're using is food safe. It's got an NTC temperature probe and PID chip, which means that the temperature that it's showing you should be fairly accurate. And then it heats at 1800 watts using a 360-degree thermal cyclone technology. So the good thing about air fryer ovens is it circulates the heat within the oven itself so that everything is cooked evenly. So overall, as you can see, it does look like just a mini oven, which is pretty nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and open this further and see what's inside. All right, packed very tightly with styrofoam. All right, the first thing you've got here looks like it's the heating pan. very thick and hard stainless steel. Then you've got the oven itself, which I think I'm gonna have to bring out sideways like this. And it's got some good weight to it, so okay, it looks like it's tight at the bottom. Now, I do love stainless steel appliances, but they do attract fingerprints very easily. Okay, so all the hardware and accessories are inside the oven itself. All right, so I think this drip tray, well, we'll just wait till the instructions. So it looks like you've got one rack here. Okay, so it looks like this is probably the rotisserie tube, which goes in here. Then this is one of the trays. And then this is, I think, what you use to, for the metal grate pan. Got an instruction manual. You've got a silicone glove, your rotisserie spikes, a couple instruction manuals, and your warranty, and then a weight conversion chart, and then this basket, crevices as well. So yeah, you can, and I believe this is the drip tray, so the drip tray would just go to the very bottom. Okay, this is your fetch rack handle, a crumb tray. So this is a crumb tray. So you just place this underneath the item itself. And then this is used to pull out your different trays. Okay, so first level, fifth level, second level, third level, bottom. Okay, so in this oven, you've got 5 levels which you can put the different trays on. You've got your oven rack, which is this great looking thing. You've got your air fryer basket, and this is perfect for fries and things like that. You've got your baking tray, which you can bake things on this, like cakes, cookies, and stuff. You've got your crumb tray, which is where all the droppings go, or oil even, or you can even collect oil in this one, depending how you put it in. And then you've got your rotisserie, which is in the middle, which does rotate, and is also easily set up by putting this bar just right into the hole itself, and then placing the other end on the hook itself. You do have your skewers for the rotisserie rack, and then you've also got this fetch rack, which you use to pick up the rotisserie and take the whole thing out while it's hot if you need to, so you're not burning yourself and just grabbing plain metal. So that pretty much makes up the different levels and different trays that you have available to you in this air frying oven. Now you've also got this knob on the side, which clicks for the different levels of heat. And then you've got a bunch of capacitive buttons on the screen itself to switch between the different modes of cooking and other different options. And then you've got your self-slamming spring door, which basically just keeps all the heat within the oven itself. Okay, so on the display itself, of course, at the top here, you've got the temperature, which is right now 400 degrees Fahrenheit. This thing is set to that. You've got the time display, and then you've got the different functions of the oven itself. Here you can adjust the time. So this is a time regulation button right here. So I guess it just lets you set the time. You've got the temperature regulation, so you can adjust the temperature. Then here you've got the menu selection, which allows you to set it in menu mode so you can cycle through the different functions of the air fryer itself. And as you switch through each of these, it does have a preset temperature and time for each of the different functions. So that's always pretty nice, so there's no guessing there. We've got the power button, which turns this thing on and off. Light, so there is a light inside, and it's nice that it gradually turns on and just doesn't pop on. So that's pretty nice. And then you've got your play pause button, which then just executes and pauses whatever you're cooking and the cooking cycle itself. Okay, so not much to the air fryer and how to understand it. So I do like the fact that each of these different functions has a preset temperature and time. So it kind of takes the guessing out of some of the things you might be cooking on a usual basis. And then the knob here, I mean, I think it's made out of plastic, but it just feels very sturdy. And it does let you cycle. It easily glides through the different functions as you turn it as well, so it's pretty nice. And it's got this little tactile feel to it when it goes through each of the motions, so that you can feel that you're actually moving it and cycling through each of the individual options as well. And the instructions do recommend, before you actually do use this oven, to make sure that you clean all the different trays and cooking racks inside. And I guess that's just because they wanted to make sure that you remove any kind of chemicals through the packaging or manufacturing process, which is smart. So it says to use hot water, dishwashing liquid, and a non-abrasive sponge, and then dry it before actually placing it into the air fryer, which I guess we've already done, so we're a little behind there. So want to make sure that you do all of that before actually using it. And then also to make sure when you're done to place the crumb tray at the very bottom, which makes sense. Okay, and then some tips that they do share with you. Because this is a convection oven, it does cook food faster and hotter. So it does recommend that you reduce the cooking temperature by 25 degrees and check for doneness on whatever you're cooking 3/4 of the way through, just to make sure that you're not overcooking your food. Just because the temperature that you're used to cooking something at may not be the same when you're using an air frying oven. Okay, and then it further goes on to explain which foods benefit from the convection setting of the oven itself. So for convection roast, meats, vegetables, and whole fish. For the convection roast setting, meats, vegetables, and whole fish will benefit from this. For the convection bake, pies, pastries, cookies, and biscuits. And for the convection broil, meat, fish, or melting cheese. Also for browning the top of casseroles. And then some other tips: when you're using the pizza function, it says to make use of the lower rack position, and then check often to see if the cheese does not burn, because the heating element is at the top of this. So you want to make sure that it's at the bottom so your cheese doesn't burn and that the pizza cooks well all the way through. Okay, and then it also says do not use the convection options for custards and flans, soufflés and cakes, quick breads and breads. Okay, so that does it for the tips. So overall, I think this oven looks very nice. I do love the stainless steel look to it. I don't like the fingerprints. I think the material that it's made of is high quality, and it's built very solidly. I mean, it doesn't move, and it's a pretty solid oven. You know, I'd say the door is even just like my actual oven door, where it's just super solid. So overall, pretty impressed so far. And it doesn't have a huge size, so it won't take up too much counter space. Okay, but then the test, of course, is how well does this thing work? So we're gonna cook a number of different things to see how well it fares, and then I'll give you my opinion and feedback. So stay tuned. Okay, so to thoroughly test this air frying oven, we are gonna put it through a couple of tests to see if it can actually replace our current air fryer, which we pretty much use for everything. So the first test, of course, is gonna be simply just heating up and baking some buns. So if you haven't tried these Hawaiian buns, you gotta try them, they're amazing. So we are going to take our basket and put a few buns in there. And the good thing is there is a toast function here. So we're gonna use that toast function to heat up these buns and see if we can get some flaky, crispy buns. Because, you know, this is something that my wife loves, are these little buns. So we are gonna try this out first and see how well they turn out. These are little mini slider buns, so we'll just see how these turn out. So we're just gonna put maybe 3 in here. Let's put 4. We haven't had lunch, so this, in conjunction with some of the other things that we're gonna test, will be our lunch for today. Okay, so we're gonna take this. I'm I'm just gonna go ahead and leave all the other trays in there, and we're gonna place this inside, close it, and then we're going to press the menu key and we're going to take it all the way to toast. And that is typically the temperature we use when we air fry our rolls and buns, and the time as well. So I'm assuming that it's going to be the same for this one. So we'll click play and it'll go off. Now, as you can hear, or maybe not hear, it sounds just like a regular microwave oven. So you can hear it and everything. It's not too loud, but it just sounds like your typical microwave. So we'll just let it do its thing and then see how it turns out after 5 minutes. Okay, so it should be nearing its end. So as you can see, it is ending, and it lets you know that it is hot. So of course you're going to want to be careful when you're removing it. Now I'm not sure if it'll actually stop, because right now it's just, I can hear the fans blowing. But I don't feel it's actually stopped yet. Now I guess this is a piece of feedback. I mean, on my old okay, so it does eventually turn off. So on our current air fryer, when it's done, when it counts down to 0, it automatically stops. So I guess this one has a little bit of a cool down period before it actually shuts off. So could be good or bad, but not something I'm used to, but something we'll probably have to get used to. So let's see how it turned out. Okay, so I'm going to use the included silicone glove. And they're a little toastier. So did definitely fry them. Oh, and it is nice, actually. They're fluffy yet crispy, how we like it. So it is toasted. The inside, ooh, it's hot, yeah. So the inside is soft still, and you've got a toasty shell. So it seems like it turned out pretty well, but I'll give it to my wife to test it out. Okay, so to test these out, so it's a little darker on the top, it's crispy, but it is perfectly toasted. Now, it depends on how you like it. My wife likes it a little bit less brown on the top, so you might have to adjust the temperature a little bit so that it doesn't cook. But for me, this toasted the top, and the inside is still warm and fluffy. But again, it's to everyone's liking how they want their bread toasted, and you may have to adjust the temperature and timing for how you like your bread toasted. So there is that caveat to it as well. But overall, I think it toasted it pretty nicely. Okay, so now that we've gotten the bread toasted and done that test, my ultimate test for any kind of air fryer is, of course, these Tyson chicken nuggets. Now, over the years, I've figured out what the perfect setting is on my existing air fryer so that I get golden, crispy nuggets on the outside and moist, juicy meat on the inside. So we're gonna test this out, and I've done this with pretty much every air fryer that I've owned to see how well these nuggets turn out in this air fryer. So we're just gonna take a few of them, and these are frozen. What? So we'll put these back in there. And this time we will set it to 360 degrees for 10 minutes. Okay, so we'll let it do its thing, and then we'll come back again to test it out to see how these turned out. Okay, so at the nuggets recommended heating instructions, it is now wrapping up, so we'll see how well these turned out. So it's just winding down right now, and we'll see if these turn out just as good. Although on my current air fryer, I didn't follow those instructions because they weren't as done as I liked them, but we'll see how well it turns out. Okay, so a little bit more brown. They're not bad, but again, I still like it a little bit more well done. It's still juicy on the inside, a little bit flaky on the outside, but I like it a little bit more crispy. So we're gonna try my settings and see how well it turns out. Okay, so take 3. Let's try this out with my settings. So we're gonna put this back in here. Then we will set the timer to, we'll do 400 at, well no, 375 because that's the normal setting I have it at. 375, so temperature, take it down to 370. Time, 17 minutes. And we'll test this thing out and see how well it turns out. So again, we'll let it do its thing and then we'll come back and see how well it turns out. Okay, so the third attempt, we will take a look and see how this turns out. So I'm gonna go and get a plate. Let's go ahead and take this out. And they're golden brown. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on here. Super crispy on the outside now. And cooked perfectly on the inside. Moist and crunchy, so turned out perfectly. So when it comes to air frying, it is trial and error. And most food now does have air frying instructions. Again, it's really up to the preference of the person who's eating the food. So you could want it fried a little longer, you could want it under fried a little bit, and then you could also follow the recommended fry times. But overall, I think it does well in cooking and making sure that the inside is still moist and the outside is still crunchy. So I'd call that a success from a nugget standpoint. Okay, so here on the plate, I do have all 3 versions. So if I'm comparing it, this is the first one. It was slightly crispy, but very moist on the inside. And then there's the second one, which was a little bit more crispier and still moist on the inside. And then the third one, which is super crispy on the outside and slightly moist on the inside. So again, it's down to preference, but overall, whether you're following the instructions from the air fryer or the instructions from the packaging of the chicken nuggets themselves, or just going by what you feel and what your preference is, they all turned out pretty well. Okay, so when it comes to cleaning, it's pretty easy. All you pretty much have to do is rinse these off with a little bit of soap and water, and it should clean very easily. Now, if you are air frying well done, what I learned is that you might want to spray a little bit of grease on here to avoid things like the panko or the crust just sticking to the grill itself, and that usually helps a lot. But overall, these are dishwasher safe, I assume, as well, because when we washed them, it turned out pretty well. So I guess you can dishwash them or hand wash them, whichever you feel you're comfortable with. So I'm just going to wipe this off a little bit to remove all the crumbs off of the baking sheet. And what's also nice is that the pans, the grills, the trays, they all cool down very quickly. So you can handle them pretty quickly after you stop using the oven itself. Okay, so for this next test, we are going to be cooking one of my favorite things to eat, which is sausages. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut some slits into all these sausages so that it releases some of the fat when it cooks. Okay, now that I've cut it a little bit, then I'm going to get a little bit of oil. We're going to use a little bit of olive avocado oil and coat the sausage itself. Because that adds just a little bit of flavor. I'm going to put it on the cooking tray, and just so the oil doesn't leak out, I'm just going to turn this into like a little box. To capture any of the oil. And then according to these instructions or the cookbook that came with the air fryer, It says 15 to 20 minutes at a temperature of 200 to 230 degrees Celsius. So because I like my sausages a little bit more well done, we'll do 230 degrees. So we'll just go ahead and put this back into the air fryer at the middle. We will now set it to 20 minutes. We'll max it out. And then temperature, we'll put it at 230 degrees. So temperature, 230 degrees. And we'll start it off. Oop, turn the power off on accident. Okay, so again, temperature 230 degrees. And let it go. Okay, so we'll just let it do its thing and then we'll come back when it's done to see how well it turned out. And while it's doing that, I am also defrosting some pork belly so that we can test that as well, because that's something that, you know, I've wanted to try, is to air fry some pork belly to see how well that turns out. So we're gonna try that after the sausages themselves. So see when it's done. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes. Let's see how the sausage turned out. Look at that, juicy. It's looking promising. Okay, so we'll take this off. Look at that. Crispy on the outside. Perfect. Okay, so the sausage overall turned out very nice, very juicy, crispy on the outside, crunchy on the crispy, crunchy on the outside, very juicy on the inside, just like how a sausage should be. Yeah, so this is great. Tastes good. And for anyone that's wondering, this is a beef brisket sausage. If you haven't tried it, I definitely recommend it. Okay, so we're gonna just go and finish up this sausage, and then we're gonna come back, and then we're gonna prepare that pork belly, and then we're gonna try to air fry us a large pork belly and see how that turns out. So we'll see you in a little bit. Okay, so now that we've polished off that amazing sausage, we're gonna move on to preparing and air frying that pork belly. Now, the way I'm gonna prepare this is not traditionally how I usually prepare it, because I do wanna just test the capabilities of the air fryer. So typically I would take that pork belly and I'd bathe it in hot water and broil it till the meat was a little bit tender before I'd season it, and then I would put it in the air fryer to bake it the rest of the way. But since we're just testing out the capabilities of this air fryer, I'm pretty much just gonna season it and then dump it in the air fryer and see how well it turns out. So first we'll get the pork belly, which has been defrosting. And it's a little big for this, so I'm probably gonna cut this down. And this is just a little pork belly that I got from Costco. So I'm just gonna cut it in half, and we'll probably just use half of this, or maybe even a fourth of it, since we're just testing this out right now. Okay, so there's half of it. I'm just gonna cut this into half as well. And then I'll save the rest for later. I'm gonna use this piece. This seems the most defrosted. So first I'm gonna dry off the meat a little bit. I'm just gonna take some toothpicks and poke out the skin, and that will just make it a little bit crispy. Okay, I'm gonna turn it on the other side, and we're gonna score the meat a little bit. So as you can see, we've scored the meat. Has some little cuts in it. We'll spread this open a little bit. And we'll take a little bit of salt, take a little bit of pepper, and then take a little bit of garlic powder, because who doesn't like a little bit of garlic? A little bit of garlic salt there. And then once we've lightly seasoned it, we're just gonna turn it over. And then just put a little bit of salt on the top so it will pull that moisture right out of the skin. And we'll just let it sit a little bit for maybe 5 minutes and let that moisture just come out of the skin. And we'll remove the salt so that we can get this as dry as possible so that it'll be a little bit crispy. Now, I by no means am a chef or even a great cook, but I know how I like my pork belly, so we'll just do it this way. I mean, there are usually some other ingredients, but because I'm not preparing it the traditional way that I generally like it, and we're just using it to test the air fryer, this is all we need for today's video. Okay, and we'll just start scraping some of that moisture off with that salt. See, as you can see, it's just salt and it's wet. Take the pan. Lay it skin side up. Then we'll make a little boat. Okay, and just to help the skin cook a little bit, we'll put a little bit of white vinegar on it. So the skin's just going to absorb that vinegar and become a little bit more crispier. Okay, so we'll put that back in the air fryer. Turn it on. Set to 400 degrees for about 25 minutes. And let it go. And then once it's done, we'll come back and check to see how well it turned out and how good it tastes. So, see you soon. Okay, so it's been about 20 minutes now and the pork belly does seem to be ready. So let's go ahead and pull this out. Oh, and look how crispy brown and golden it is. Okay, so here is the pork belly that we have air fried at about 400 degrees Fahrenheit for the past 20 minutes. Smells amazing, but let's see how it looks. Okay, it's a bit hot. So we're just going to lift it off the foil. It's so juicy. We're going to put it on the plate. It smells amazing. Okay, so we are now going to cut into it. And you can hear that crispiness. Now I think we need to let it sit and then we need to fry it a little longer because the skin is just a little bit soft. But I just want to get at least a taste of it, see what it's like right now. Look how juicy this is. Oh my God. It's so good. Tastes amazing. Although the skin is not fried, so we're probably going to need to put it back in the air fryer for a little longer so the skin is a little bit more crispy. But it's so good. Put it back in there for a little longer so we can make sure that the skin is crispy. But so far, amazing, the flavor. So I can't stop eating it, but I'm gonna have to because we're gonna put it back into the air fryer for probably a little longer so the skin gets crispy. I mean, right now it's a little bit soft, but. Okay, so I will say by far this pork belly is definitely the star of this show. It is not yet perfect because the skin is still not crispy. So I'm just gonna put this back in there for another 20 minutes. Just to make it just perfect. But I mean, I could eat it just the way it is right now. So we'll go ahead and start that. Okay, so we will air fry it at 400 degrees for another 20 minutes. Come back and see how well it turns out. Okay guys, so we've now fried it another 20 minutes. And I'm pretty sure, or I'm hoping that it will be ready now and perfect. So yeah, as you can see, the skin is now darker. I mean, I don't think it's crunchy crispy, but it's crispier. And I think that's probably because I didn't dry it enough. Just take it off. Okay, so let's cut into this. Yeah, so it's still not crispy and it's probably because I didn't dry it enough, but looks very tender, moist, and juicy still. I'm just gonna cut this up. Cut us a piece here. Cut us a couple pieces actually. It's beautiful. Nicely cooked through and everything. Hot, but good. So good. I think for this, I'm pretty satisfied with it. For the next one, I'm probably gonna try to dry it out a little bit more so that it's a little more crunchy. And I may even just refrigerate it for a little while so that will dry out the skin even more. So we'll try that. Okay guys, I don't know about you, but I am pretty full. Now we were able to make some pretty good food using this air fryer oven from HYSapientia. And for the most part, everything turned out great. Now we only scratched the surface of what this air fryer oven is capable of cooking, but the functions we did test out in this video worked out perfectly. Now like I mentioned, when you use an air fryer, the cooking temperature and the timing can vary and is really subject to your preferences. You can either opt to follow the recipes on the packaging itself, or you can experiment and find the right settings for yourself. Now overall, I think this air fryer oven works great and the food that we prepared today was a hit. Now the one thing that I do wish that this air fryer did have was a deeper bucket sized tray so I could potentially accommodate a larger quantity of food to air fry at once. Instead, what it comes with is a bunch of shallow trays that can only accommodate enough food for two. You know, just in case you need to prepare enough food for a party. Now at the end of the day, I do think that this air fryer oven performs exceptionally well and is made of some very durable products. Not only that, it does have a double glazing coat which protects and insulates from burns and explosions, and all at an affordable cost of $170. Now the good thing, and what's even better, is that included in the link in the description section below, you do also get an instant $50 coupon off if you order from Amazon. Anyways, I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, please make sure you like and comment below what you thought about this video. Please also let me know if you have one of these air fryer ovens as well and what you think about it. Now if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe and ring that bell icon to get notified when I post new content. And as usual, thanks for checking out this video. Until next time, see ya.